Hi guys, so today I'm going to try out the new Griffin Crop at Home border dies. This was for like the creative event or Crop at Home 2 or whatever it's called. I did not attend that and I didn't buy like the big kit, but I did pick up the things that I was interested in for now, and this was one of those items. So if it's still available, I'll have it linked in the description box. Those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. I don't do a lot of scrapbooking, so these are 12-inch borders. What I plan to do is miter them and cut them down, then miter them to fit a 5x7 card, like to frame out a card. And what that means is kind of like this, where the two corners meet up at an angle. Super easy. I'm just going to cut it. There's lots of different ways to do it, but basically for me, I'm just going to put one this way, one overlap the other way, and take an X-Acto and cut it right down that area. Maybe I shouldn't use my fingers and use an X-Acto and cut it. That doesn't sound pleasant, but anyway, that's what I plan to do. So we'll see, because I don't know how these would match up, or even if they match up well at that point. I have a feeling like designs like this one, which is probably what I'll use today, will probably work better because the way it repeats so close, you know what I'm saying, so closely, where this one is a little bit like larger, and maybe when you cut the 5 inches, maybe, because I'm basically going to cut them, layer them up, and then cut them down. So like, yeah, it's exactly 12 inches, which is perfect. The background die. The one inside is a little bit smaller. But like if I come in here and cut at 5, it does cut right in a space that makes sense. Maybe we'll try a fancier one. But it just depends on the design. So if I look over here, you know, does this one also cut at an interval that makes sense? It cuts, I guess if you're going to cut it right in the center of one of these guys, and then when you turn it, you know, so it just depends on which design you're using, how well this is going to work out. But that's why I was wondering if they engineered these in a way that makes it nice for the 5x7, you know. So those are 12 inches, and 5 is, yeah, 5 is right in the middle of like this medallion design. So that's good. That's really good. But either way, what I'm going to do is grab some papers, grab a 5x7 card base, some paper for that, and all that kind of stuff. I do have the impression dies sitting here that I used earlier in a busted out video. Maybe I'll bring these out. And basically this is the kind of thing we're doing. We're going to make our own kind of like mitered corner. This is obviously the card base is that way. But that'll look nice, and then build something up on top. I don't know what that is. But I do have these sitting here, and I thought, well, maybe that'll help us put something in the middle, right? Because this is obviously for the edges. But let me grab some papers, and I'm probably going to run this through the tangerine because those plates are huge. And even at that, you're still going to have to angle it, because I think the plates on the tangerine are like A4 size. Whatever larger machine you have. Again, if you don't have a large machine for this kind of thing, let's say you're running this through, and you just put it as long as you can, right? As much as you can. Make sure that this is taped to your paper real well. Do the whole sandwich, run it through, and this little bit that's excess, you just move it up, or move this down, however it is, until it catches most of what you didn't cut and a little bit of what you did cut. Put the plate, you know, sandwich, and run it through. That's any machine. Hopefully you have maybe extended cutting plates, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, in the Spellbinders coming soon, they have some different cutting plates in a universal system and an extended cutting plates coming out for that machine, I think for the Platinum 6. So I'm super excited to check those out, because it's always nice to have a longer plate. Like, I wish the Gemini Junior, they had an extended plate. Like, why not? But they haven't done it, so. But it would be nice if they made longer ones, right? Instead of just a standard, and then obviously you have your Gemini machine or whatever. But any machine, you know, I do have the extended cutting plates for the Empress. I just haven't even turned the Empress on in probably, I would say, a year. I don't know. But it's right here. She's still right here on the table in front of me. I just don't use it. So let me grab the papers, and I'll be right back. So let me put these to the side. So a couple drawbacks right off the bat is that this does cut exactly at that 12-inch space, you know. I'm going to try this one, and hopefully it'll look nice. So let's go with this guy. And, you know, it has some embossing if you want to run it back through right in there. So let's say you have an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. You don't have 12-inch scrapbook paper. This is obviously going to be too long. So you can still do it, but you're going to have to angle it. So you're going to need 2 pieces of paper to get that done, right? You may need 2 strips for this project. And if you're doing a whole 12-inch scrapbook page, obviously you need 4 strips. So you can still get it from this. I just didn't want to waste the paper that way. I would still use this paper for something else, but it would be for like die cutting something else in those areas. So I'm not going to use these. I had already chosen the colors and I was like, yeah, you know what? So I have 12-inch scrapbook paper here. This is some AC cardstock that I bought like probably 10 years ago at an expo. I have a whole bunch of them. And again, even at that, I mean, it is right at the edge, right? Because this thing cuts exactly 12 inches. So if you want to gamble and put it right on the edge, you can definitely do that, right? So it's cutting right on the edge. Or with this one too, just give yourself a little space and angle it also. You're going to waste some paper, but not as much. You know, I can maybe die cut something here later. And the second one, I'll move over and do it like that too. Okay? Or if you don't care about that little bit of an edge being cut away. We're going to cut it away anyway, to be honest. So I might just go ahead and not waste my paper, but if you need the whole strip, because you're just doing some kind of pretty strip thing, and you're going to put that on like your 12 by 12 scrapbook page, just like that, or, you know, down the side or something, you want those tops and bottoms. But honestly, for this project, I can probably do this, because we're going to cut that away anyway with the mitering. That very corner is probably going to be cut away. So however you want to do that. With the insert, it's going to be a little bit smaller, because it goes on the inside, so see, you can do that on the complete 12 by 12. Either way, we're going to run this through. We need 2 of this one and we need 2 of that one, okay? So I'm going to cut those again on the tangerine and I will be right back. Just quickly want to show you, when I put it on here, I do angle it also, because obviously this is an A4 size, so it's like 11 and almost 12, but not quite 12 inches. But even at that, this one fits in here okay from top to bottom. But I just angle it like that, just so it's in there. I am probably not going to take the time to emboss this, to be honest, but just the pressure of the machine already gives it some good emboss. Look at that. Ooh, no need. Okay, I'm going to clean this out and then cut the second one. And the reason you clean it out is just so that there's not already something in that spot, and then it doesn't cut as well, or it's like further away from the paper than like the other spots that are nice and cleaned out. So you just want to get rid of all these little bits. I might not clean up what's on my cutting plate, like these little bits, unless I have to, but definitely clean out your die, just to get the best cut at the beginning. But, you know, sometimes I'll leave some of these little bits there. If they're there, they're there, you know. As long as they're not under my die. But generally you want to clean everything off. And then go again. And like I said, I just angle it and run this through. I'll be right back. Gorgeous. Like, I mean, look how pretty. I just put it to the side and went and moved on to do my other cutting. But that is just beautiful. I was hoping this one would work with this project, so I think it will. I mean, look at that, you guys. So pretty. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then even where I cut it, the one and the other, I was like, oh, if I had lined this up better, I would make this in a way that I could use this. Look how it looks all cool. But anyway, so I have a 5x7 card base here ready to go. I picked a piece of paper from the Salon Nouveau paper crafting kit, which I will link in the description box. And I don't know if that one needs to go up or down. I mean, this side's so pretty, but you know I can't cover up my foil. So either way, if it goes this way or the other way, however I decide. So that's kind of like a pinkish tone, so that this would be really pretty along with that. Again, this is going to border up on everything, and then we'll see how it works. I don't know. Hopefully this works. Okay, so I am going to glue these together before I cut them. If you want to cut them first, you know, it's up to you. Whatever it is that you think is best and whatever you like to do. But they have to be really glued, okay? So like, especially in the area that you know you might cut at the 5-inch or whatever, you definitely want to make sure that that's glued nicely, because when we cut it, those pieces are going to want to come away. So, you know, I'm doing a little something here. But once I get to the area where I believe is where it's going to be stuck down, I want to really make sure all the little bits in that area are going to not move when I cut them. Or like, but I guess you can kind of, if you have a really fine glue tip, you can probably get in there and fix whatever you need for that to happen. But, you know, like right around 5 inches, it was like in here somewhere, not here, here. Just making sure there's enough glue. And I'm using a very fine tip dispenser. This is that art glitter glue. It doesn't matter if you want to put the glue in the back of your hand, which is always really great. And then of course here we're going to miter this, so we need to make sure those pieces are really stuck down. And I'm going to start on one side. There should be a little bit of a space, and I'm just kind of following along, looking at where it would nestle in nicely. What happens with these big dies, or any dies that are like outline dies, and your machine, is that they will move. I don't know if you've noticed that, or they'll expand. So let me tell you what I mean. Ugh. You know what's so funny? Somebody said to use a napkin, paper towel. So as you're doing this, the extra glue gets on the paper towel. And it's true, it will. Because if you go like that, it'll stick to this and then move away. Obviously, you don't want to sit there for too long because you're going to end up with paper towel glued to your project. But it will pick up those little excess bits. This is probably not the best paper towel to use because it has like ink all over it. But there's lots of different ways to take care of that. The little the glue that comes out. But even with that, with the metallic paper, it just rubs away. So I'll do the same thing for the second one. What I'm trying to say is this. It's going through your machine, it's going through the rollers, it's going to start doing this. Expanding, right, in some spots. So sometimes it'll be wonky. It'll come out wonkier than you like. You might want to die cut it again, or just understand that's what happened, basically. So, and some dies do it more than others. Like these guys are long, and sometimes that happens. But just want to mention in case you go to do this and you're like, that's way off, you know, that happens. These guys that are a little more solid do that less. But anyway, okay, I'm going to take a moment to do the same thing with the glue, and I'll be right back. Oh, you know what? I'll also glue this down. Just glue it down straight on the card base, okay? We have this, and honestly, I wasn't even ready to go, but I think I popped on here, and I was like, oh, next thing is cutting. Okay, couple things. We're just going to cut this basically at the 5 inches and at the 7. You can bring this to your guillotine or to your, you know, wherever you want. But I'm just going to take, I have better rulers to be honest, but I'm just going to use this one from the Dollar Tree. And making sure it's nice and straight. You know, all these little scallops, I'm kind of lining them up right on my line here. And again, they are wonky because look at that. This is what I'm saying, just from the die cutting, you can see how that one doesn't touch. These all touch. This one goes below. That one's going up there. They're not straight, you know. But that's what happens. So just take the best you can. I think this side looks better. And I'm lining it up. So all I have to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the 5-inch mark, which is right in the middle of one of these motifs, which is awesome. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to be very careful. I have one of my craft knives. And I'm trying to do it once and be done. There you go. So I gave it a lot of pressure so I can just cut it and be done with that. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. And I'll be right back. So we have essentially 2 7-inch pieces, 2 5-inch pieces. Now, of course, when you bring these over here, they don't look great. They're not going to be great. And this is the other thing. So if I line these up here, I'm going to cut it right there, right? It looks like not great. But we're going to try it out. The other thing is lining them up in the right way. So basically we're just going to take all these pieces. And you know, if there's a certain way that you think looks better or not or whatever, then do that. But what I'm doing when I look at this is I am lining up right to those little bump edges, unless you want those to be out here, you know, further out from your card. What I'm paying attention to is like where that bump is where I'm going to line up the flat edge here. And then there's this little bump I'm going to line up that flat edge because that's basically the design. It includes that little scallop and then the flat edge, you know. So that's how I'm lining it up. And that way when I cut it, it'll be inside of my card instead of sticking out or whatever. So you're kind of taking some from that. Now, I have all kinds of lines on here, 60 degree, you know, 45, 90 degrees, all that stuff. So you can take those things into account. But what I'm looking at right now, again, is bumping that up, bumping that up. And I'm happy with that. If you don't like that, like if you want to move it so that it's closer to this little, where these kind of will crisscross, you know, just look at it and just make sure you're getting it where you want. Now, if you look at her example, it's not even. You know what I'm saying? There's no evenness there. I'm just lining that up and trying to make sure, you know, this is about, and I am looking at that motif. See what happens. Again, I've never done this one with this design, so I don't know if there's a trick to it. But I'm holding this with the pressure of my hand. So that's the other thing. I guess you could also line it up edge to edge so you kind of have an idea that you're nice and straight and all that, right? Whatever it is. And we're going to take this and we are going to place it right in the corner. Right there. So like where this little divot ends. And again, if you want to place this somewhere where you actually have a line like this, I would do that. Or bring it over here since I kind of know where I am. And put it right in the center here. Right? Just so that can help you check it out and hopefully you're straight. So there are some different things you gotta think about as you just choose a design and then cut it. But hopefully we will have some success. I don't know. So I'm just going to cut this guy. Ooh, see, we have some movement. Okay, let's get rid of that one for now. Generally, I cut them both together, you guys. But like I said, I brought out a not great this guy. So let's go back over here. And what I'll do this time is I'll actually place this on top. Like I said, oh, you know what? That's actually funny. It's so like close that you don't even have to cut this other one if you really don't want to, but you want it to set in nicely. So all I'm doing is basically following this again where I began cutting the first time. Just place this back nice and even right there. I'm going to cut it by itself. Generally, you want to cut them together. That way they look exactly the same, but you know, whatever. Like I said, I don't even know if these designs are going to match up the way I would want them, so. There it is. Oh, look. It matches up with a weird little spot right here. Okay, so there's that one. Now you can probably just take these and just keep cutting, you know, with the other ones, but no. What I like to do is keep them together. So like this is the guys that are going to be on the left or whatever. I still need this guy to come over here and to be cut from here. Again. So if we're looking at this and you have, let's say 5 by 7 on here. When you bring this guy over, you kind of have a good idea of where you want it to be. We're looking at all these different, I'm taking into account like where the design is, where the little, where it might end here, you know, all these different things. But see how that's slightly different from this time before? So that's what I'm paying attention to mostly, to be honest. We're going to cut this away too, and it's going to leave that little scallop there. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, paying attention to, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're way outside that 5. What a bummer. Okay. I might have to cut this again. Again, it's just the design, and I hate to say that to be like, oh, again and again, but honestly, that's the issue here. It's the design and where you end up cutting. I'm trying to see how I would like to do this best. I kind of want to get those together. We'll see what happens. Okay. And I wish I could hold this down tight enough that I can get them both cut at once, but this ruler does not let me do that. So I had a We Are Memory Keepers. I'm really pushing this time. Ruler and mat set that was magnetized. And that helped out. But now you see these guys are together. But they're together in a way that's going to work for our card. We will see. Yay! It's just a little bit there. Look at that. Okay. Now, we got this baby boy to work with. Now we have to do the same thing again here. Line this up. And I'm looking at the design because I kind of liked lining up the little boop boops, those areas, more than paying attention to anything else. But again, it just depends on the design. So I'm going to put this here. From there, right to the edge, you know? Like I said, these little pieces that are like already drawn on your mat, maybe you have them, maybe you don't, really do help out. But anyway, okay, let's put this here. Ah, you see how that shifted? And that might be okay. I'm kind of paying attention to like what's going on here, you know, where I am in this little crease, and that's how I'm divining on this one where to go. Be careful, push down real hard. Be careful with your fingers. And you always want to use the sharpest craft knife because when they're dull, that's when you have problems. Okay, so this one would be here, right? It'd be up like this. Have that there, this guy here, and now this last one. And do it however you like, but again, I'm kind of matching up those little scallops, and also up here, kind of more like this bump area is what it looks like. It's what it's been for this one. Oh my gosh, guys, we're almost there. And for each design, it's going to be slightly different, right? What you want to match up, where you think is the best cut. It's always nice to have something that's just squared off, because, like, yeah, you just line them up. I'll show you what I mean by now. Ah, come on. That's going to be kind of in the back anyway. You're not going to see that. Last one. Pretty good. Some of them are a little more, like, see, this one didn't line up as nicely as some of the other ones. And to be honest, I could probably go like this, take a little bit more off of this one. But either way, okay, that's what happened. Let's bring it back. I used to have different things for mitering, but like honestly, I just go for it. But there's lots of other tricks you can do that help you with that. So basically, we're just gonna put this down and then start somewhere, right? This is the worst corner right here, so I think I'm gonna pay attention to this top corner first, and it is sticking out a little bit further from the card because again, it has to do with that 5x7 and how wide these are and everything else. So I actually think I should do these sides first, and then we'll go from there. I'm just gonna glue them down. Okay, that was enough work for me that I'm like just gonna glue these down and then go from there. So you see I didn't put glue all the way to the edge because I don't really know exactly where this is going. I'm gonna try to see exactly how much we have here and here, and then this goes here. That's not bad, but oopsie. I think from there I'm just going to go and do the next one. I was going to stick just the side ones down and then go from there, but that might not be the greatest. And as I'm looking, I'm kind of paying attention to see what's going on here. And before that sets up, again, this is art glitter glue, which sets up pretty well, pretty quick, but not as fast as like Nuvo Deluxe. Okay. And honestly, if you wanted to, you could boop, put that over, but I don't like the way that matched up. I like the little circle better, so I'm gonna leave it there. And maybe for the next one, I'll have more ideas for you as far as how to get this more centered, more level for a 5x7 card. And that goes there. Not great. Not great. You know what I'm saying? Like that one's good. I feel like this is the corner that really bothers me still. I wonder if I should cut that. No, I better not. Okay. Alright guys, well, you know, I'm just experimenting. And I'll show you what I mean by generally. I'm going to line this one up, and I'm not going to care so much about this one, because what I'm going to do is cover that. This, where it doesn't quite line up as nicely. Let's see on the back how much overlap we have there. So, it does stick out quite a bit. But that's what it is. I'm just trying something out. What I was trying to say is, let's say you have... let me cut this down. I'm going to cut a piece of paper just to show you what I mean by when you usually mite or something. I'll be right back. Really pretty. Worked out, but not quite. Okay, so let's say we have these strips. These are 1-inch strips. I don't know, by whatever. I just cut that, what, 6.5, 3, 7, 7.5 or something. All you do is line them up like this, and they're basically, because they're just solid ends, you can just take scissors. Like at this point, I wouldn't even probably use the other... the X-Acto and all that. Let me just grab a pair of scissors. And if you're good, right? If you don't have a good eye, then don't do this. But you can just take that and cut right to that corner. Get rid of these guys, and your miter is perfect, right? And then when you do it the next time, it's also perfect, like whatever. But since this one has like that thickness, is almost like 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches thick, it has the scallops, it just doesn't work out the same. But I try to match up the design more than matching up the size, if that makes any sense. Okay, now, let's see. I need to cover this area, so that'll be something else in a little bit. But I also wanted to use those impression dies, so let me grab those and some paper or something to go along with it, and I'll be right back. I was thinking about using the impression dies, but like this one covers up pretty much everything, and you know, I don't care for that, like in the background. And it doesn't cut this hole, so that'll definitely just be there. And this one, same thing. If I was to put this down and then go around there, it's a little too much. Maybe we'll use it for a different reason, but for now, I'll just look in the paper pack and see what we can find that we like from there. And again, some of the wonkiness on that might have come at the very end, you know, because you're kind of going with everything. Might have come from the dies shifting, because that's something that did happen. Let's see. I definitely want something to cut my little corner, or to cover my little corner, should I say. So I'm probably going to dig through this and see what makes sense. It doesn't cover up too much stuff, but it still looks nice, you know. You know, I don't care for covering up everything. Oh, look at that. But I want to cover that whole corner. So I want to put something there. I don't know if it's going to work out for me today. Oh, unless we do like a little flower and then put one on the other corner too, right? We can definitely do that. Something like that. But anyway, I'm going to look for... Ooh, what is this? It's a big boy. It's kind of big. Okay, let me play around a little bit and I will be back. I think, honestly, you guys, I've been sitting here for probably about 15 minutes. I probably should get like a flourish. I think that's what I was needing. Because behind this, if I just left it, it's so plain, you know? And then some of the things that they had in here were just kind of random. Like, this is cute. I think that we could go tuck in there. But then what's this thing about? This little circle. I love this paper pack. Like, this is... Look at this. You are simply fabulous. What a fun thing. Okay, so for here, definitely I'm going to use these guys. It just covers up that little corner. Really happy for a first time out. You know, obviously I'll have to play with it a little bit more next time if I wanted to do more mitering. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but actually I need to push this out a little further. It's cute. So I have these little flowers. Let me get a little bit closer. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. Now I can trim that down a little bit because it is kind of sticking out right there, but I'll do this first. And if I need to trim it, I'll trim it. But not bad. So whenever I used to do a lot of mitering, it had to do with quilting. And, you know, you can feel like the fabric however you need. But there's that. Okay. And then I'm just going to pop this in here. This should be a sticker, right? Or is it just a background? Let's see. And you guys always tell me if it's white on the back, it's a sticker. But I'm like, well, I can't really tell the difference between the white and cream cardstock. But, you know. Okay, so I'm putting that in the center as much as I can. I think that looks good. Hopefully. And then I'm going to stick this down. And then the other things will just tuck in around there. But what a fun one. I love that. I'm like, you are simply fabulous. I like this. Fun sentiment. Oh, come on. Where's my pokey tools when you need one? Let's try this. Be very careful if you're using something like this, but you just want to get behind that. Okay, so you are simply fabulous. As centered as I can get it. That's where I will want that. And then we have another sticker that I will completely take the stick off the back. Sorry, guys. I tell you, I live in the busiest cul-de-sac in the world, apparently. Everyone's always doing something. Okay. That's really pretty. I don't want that covering up my words. Where do I want this tucked in? Oh, come on. There? I guess more out this way because I don't want the S to be covered up so much. So that one. And then this little guy, even though he has blue on him, I was like, do they have one that's more just pink? But that's okay. A little pop of a different color is not bad. Okay. And I just put them right in there. And that is the card for today, guys. A little over the top for me, you know, with the mitering and everything, but I think it looks really cute. Next time I will make sure to center it a little better when I actually glue it down, right? Because as you can see, it's kind of peeking out here and here and not so much here, even though it's peeking out there. So I need it to be to the left just a little bit. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And yeah, if you've done the mitering or if let me know what you think of it, because I know some people are just like, no way. Other people love it, love the look. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll definitely use the borders on other things. I think a lot of times I'll probably just use it and cut it to the size I want. Like if it's for a strip here, I'll just cut it, you know, where it makes sense and use it that way. But yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye now.